We say, I guess I could try to get him to be less stressed. That is the correct answer. I'll try and get him to loosen up a bit. He's really swamped, but maybe I can do something to help.
Bingo.
That's the spirit! It might be a rough conversation, though. Why not just make it a comment? When you see an opportunity for him to go a bit easier, tell him then. That's why you don't have to spend that way you don't have to spend all your time with him angsting about it. That's no reason not to be excited for your date. But if John should be spending his time elsewhere. You don't understand boys at all. If you're important to him, he'll make time for you. If anything, this is a great sign. You think? Oh, I know. Come on, let's pick out your outfit. Okay, so this looks like date prep, which is the next day. So let's see if we have a new... Okay, current event called So Dating. Okay. Dear Diary, I have a date with John. Oh my gosh, I have no idea what to expect. Jared was trying to give me pointers on how to seduce him. Oh my god, I can't even imagine what that conversation was like. I want to see that conversation. I'm going to fly on the wall in that room. Oh my god. But I practically threw his face into my apple pie. I can't even imagine what it'll be like. I'm so nervous. Oh my god. Like, really? Really? That's funny. Okay. I stood in front of my mirror, running my hands through my bangs. There was a cowlick sticking up front, and I couldn't get it to lay flat. John would be here any minute, and I didn't want to spend my entire date worried about my hair. Nobody would, really. So, can I ask you something? Sure, shoot. You like John, right? Yeah, I guess I do. Okay. But, like, why? Mike doesn't get it!
What?
What? Yeah, what? I shot her a look, unsure of what she was trying to get at with this. Mai held up her hands in defense. Okay, hear me out. I mean, the past few things you told me about him haven't been particularly romantic, and every time you guys hang out, you seem stressed or worried. Well, you don't know what's been going on behind the scenes. I just want to make sure you actually like the guy and that it's not some kind of crazy crush gone awry. I turned back to the mirror, pursing my lips. It probably did look kind of bad from the outside, especially since both John and I have been so stressed. And John did say the wrong thing a lot, which could probably be taken as actual inconsideration, like he was trying to hurt my feelings on purpose or something. But that wasn't the truth of it. John wasn't that kind of a person. He just thought differently from other people. That didn't make him any less sincere or his feelings any less real. That is true. Hana? Well... But now that I thought about it, why did I like him? When I tried to think of a reason, I just got happy feelings in my stomach and images of Jean and Jacques together. I couldn't actually verbalize it. But Mai was waiting for my answer. He's blunt? Well, about that, Oh god, I don't know what... I guess I would say that he's blunt. I mean, personally, I very much appreciate when people are very blunt and honest. I don't like when people, play games, with what they're saying or how they feel. I prefer to people to be straight up. So if I were in Hana's position, I would very much appreciate his bluntness. And that would probably be my answer. So let's see if that's what we would choose. No! We have to choose, well, about that, Okay. I didn't want to say something I would regret or that I didn't mean, so instead I stuttered like an idiot. Yeah, it's true, you want to be honest, I suppose. I couldn't think of a reason for liking him. Did that mean I didn't sincerely like him? Was this just some kind of crazy infatuation? Was I more in love with love than with him? I was content with not stating the extent of our feelings. Now really didn't seem like the time to add more to either of our plates. But maybe that was a bit calculated on my part. Oh, now she's having doubts! I wasn't even sure what the extent of my feelings were, and if that was the case for me, couldn't it be the same for him? No. Wasn't it more likely that he was trying to take advantage of me in some way, just because I was being kind to him? I don't know. I don't think John's that kind of guy. Well, if you need time to think about it, that's okay. There was a knock at the door. My savior! I quickly pocketed my phone and my wallet, then turned to Mai. We can finish this conversation when I get back, okay?
Bye-bye.
Okay, have fun! John stood in front of my door, beaming as usual and holding roses. Oh, John! Are you kidding me? That's adorable! Oh! Hey, I got these for you. Oh my god, he's so cute. Oh, wow, thank you. I took the bouquet of roses from his hand, staring into the curled blooms. I'd never gotten flowers before, and I didn't really know how to accept them. My parents owned a half flower shop after all. I was usually the person selling the flowers, not the one getting them. I didn't own a vase, so I didn't even have anywhere to put them. Well, 1 second. Oh, back already? Whoa, nice roses! Yeah, John brought them for me. Putting the moves on you, eh? I didn't know you liked roses. Yeah. I searched my face. You don't, do you? It's just that so many people came to my parents' store getting token roses for their partners, even yelling at my parents on Valentine's Day when there were none left because they'd get in trouble. There was no thought in it, so they don't seem like a meaningful gift to me. Well, John doesn't know that. He's just trying to do what he can. But at least he's trying. Anyway, can you find a place to put these? Sure. Go on, get out of here. I smiled at thanks and headed back out into the hall. Okay, let's get going. Right, where are we off to today? Well, I thought a lot about it, and there's this crazy good restaurant in the mall. I made reservations for a romantic candlelit meal for 2. John! He's trying to do, like, all the classic stuff. Like, he's trying to do what he feels like he's supposed to do. A candlelit dinner for lunch? John watched me eagerly, anticipating my reaction. I feel like John's misstep here is that he's trying to do the generic romantic thing and not thinking about what would be romantic to Hana. Oh, great. It sounds like fun. He grinned broadly, pumping his arms as if he just won a game or something. I chuckled quietly to myself. Sure, so candlelit dinners at lunchtime weren't my jam, but he was still taking me out and trying to show me he cared, even if it was in the most stereotypical way possible. Maybe there wasn't as much thought in it as I would have liked, but the feeling was still there. I could go along with this. I'm gonna be interested to see how this turns out. That's what I told myself, but holy shit, this was awkward. I love Hana so much. John and I were seated around a table in the back of a dimly lit room, partially secluded from the rest of the restaurant by plants and paper screen dividers. Partially secluded, as we were surrounded by bickering families and old people out for their usual discount lunch. It was unusually hot, and the couple to our right kept hissing barbs at each other under their breath. The wife had already threatened to divorce her husband twice. Well, that's not John's fault. You okay? You're looking kind of pensive. Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry, I was just thinking. Well, that's what pensive means. Thankfully, the waiter came to take our orders. I asked for water with extra ice, and the man smiled knowingly at me. Just before walking away, he produced a small dark box from within his apron. Whoa. Okay. He sat in front of me and winked. With a quick glance at John, he was off. Okay, this is when things are about to go off the rail. What's this? Open it up. It looked like a jewelry box. John wouldn't buy me jewelry, would he? Oh my goodness. If this is what I think it is, I have a story to tell. I grabbed the cardboard lid and ever so gently lifted it up. Inside were 2 small pink flowers, shaped out of what seemed to be some kind of sugar. Oh my gosh. These are beautiful. Aren't they? I had them picked especially for you. I figured you probably never had one considering they're so expensive. Oh, John. Oh. He faltered in the middle of a sentence, for once aware that what he was saying was not the best thing given in the situation. Anyways, they're my favorites. This old man from back home used to make some every March and bring them around to all the neighbors, which is a lot easier said than done because some of the grounds were huge. Had to walk quite a ways. Really? Why would he do all that? March was like a month of anniversaries for him. Him and his wife, him and moving into the neighborhood, him and coming to this country, all that kind of stuff. So he tried to share it to bring a sense of community to the neighborhood. That's so cute! My neighborhood used to have communal barbecues and movie nights and stuff like that.
Really?
Really? Yeah, people would get together to help watch over each other's kids, and then when there was a yard sale or someone was moving, everyone helped out. We knew what it was like to kind of be sad and tired all the time, so everyone tried to help out when they could. We were usually happier helping someone than we were on our own. That's so sweet. He peered at the flower in the box. So you already know all about this then? I know about the feeling behind it, but I've never had this before. I'm really excited to try some. Great! He leaned toward me, resting the chin on his palm. He stared deeply into my own, watching me intently. Did he expect me to eat it now? Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly he's expecting out of this. I'm hoping to eat it after the meal. Sugar on an empty stomach usually made me feel sick, but seeing his excitement, I suppressed a sigh and took the flower out of the box. Oh! The flower was half crushed by my fingers, even though I tried to pick it up gently. Careful! Those things are really fragile. John, with the lightest of touches, took the flower from my hand and set it in his palm. Then he held it out to me. Here, eat it. Oh, John! John, you romantic cad. He wanted me to eat it from his hand? I'm not gonna bite. Go ahead. Blushing furiously, I leaned forward and opened my mouth. John popped the flower into my mouth. It melted immediately. It was sweet and light, almost kind of like cotton candy?
Yeah!
So you do know it! The waiter brought in our food at that moment, which was a good thing because he blocked my completely incredulous expression from John's view. We headed back immediately after eating. John apologized profusely for having to cut the date so short. I shrugged it off. I know you have to play in the tournament to prepare for. Thanks for taking some time off for me. You're busy enough as it is. Are you sure you're going to be able to handle everything? Yeah. Well, I have you and everyone else to help me if I need it. I should be fine. He grinned, all optimism and cheer once again. I wasn't convinced. Yeah, either am I, Hana. It was a lot to do in only a few weeks, and if there was one thing I knew from projects, it was that it was usually underestimated how long they took to finish. John chuckled. You know, I was so worried about today. Were you really? Oh yeah, totally! I've never been on a real date before, and I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. Yeah, I got that vibe. Never been on a real date, huh? The generic roses, the candlelit meal, the sugar-spun flower. Suddenly it all made sense. It wasn't that John didn't know what I liked. It was that he was too concerned about what he should be doing. John had overthought our date in trying to consider my feelings. The thought was so funny that I burst out laughing right then and there. What? What's so funny? Nothing, you're just surprisingly cute. Surprisingly? Yes, surprisingly. We finally made it to my door, and as we did, I remembered the question Mai asked earlier. I said I would talk to her about it when I got back. Well, thanks for today, John. It was really fun. Wait, before you go. John dug around in his pocket. Internally, I balked. More presents? He withdrew another small black box and handed it to me. I got this for you. I took it, glancing up at him. More sugar flowers? No. Open it up and see. John might make a good landing at the end of this date. What's in the box? Hesitantly, almost wearily, I pulled open the tab in the box.
John.
John? Inside the box was the necklace I saw in the city, amethyst strewn with a string of pearls. John! John, buddy! I remembered that it was your mom's favorite, so I figured you'd want one of your own. John, home run, buddy! Now you can kind of be twins. I mean, it's not much, but I thought it might be nice. It was kind of like paying my respects to her, even if I'll never get to meet her. John! Right in the feels! John! With trembling fingers, I clasped it around my neck. Does it look alright? Definitely. You look beautiful. Your mom would be proud. Happy ellipses! Oh God! Oh no! Why are you crying? Did I do something wrong? Did I overstep my bounds? Oh my God, stop crying. Holy shit, please stop. What do I do? John! I pulled him into a hug, burying my face into his shoulder. Nothing. This is a good kind of crying. John patted my shoulders awkwardly. Good, I guess? I wiped my tears and stepped away from him, unable to meet his eyes. Sorry. Right, well then, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much, John. We should do this again sometime. John is so shocked, like, wait a minute. She wants to go on another date? Yeah, definitely. John skipped happily away down the hall, hardly a care in the world. Except you forgot to talk to him about... Oh, hey, back already? Yeah, I am. You forgot to talk. Nice necklace! John gave that to you? I nodded, then took Mai's hands. Mai, I know John can mess up sometimes, but he's really just the sweetest, most considerate guy in the world. Are we talking about the same John here? I pulled away from her, chuckling lightly. It's weird, Mai. Sometimes John can be such a buffoon, saying the wrong things at precisely the wrong time, completely ignorant of what you should never say to a girl. But then the other half of the time, he can be super sensitive and understand what someone's going through without them even needing to say anything. I shrugged. I just don't get it. But you like it. Of course I like it. Well, good. You were so sad the other day, I was real worried. Actually, I was so caught up in the date that I completely forgot about Mr. Bunny, too. Mr. Bunny? I glanced around my bed, looking for the tattered eye patch. I never introduced Mai to him, which was kind of sad. Where was it? Did she throw it out? Oh, no! No! God, no! No! Where was it? I dug through the covers of my bed, then under the pillows, then inside the pillow, then under the bed, then between the bed and the wall. Oh, no! I flung the blankets off, scanning the floor as I shook them out. What's going on? Where is it? Where's my Mr. Bunny? What? There was an eye patch with a button on it. It was fabric and it was Mr. Bunny, or what was left of him, and it... Oh... Mai shifted uncomfortably and I stopped mid-sentence. You... I thought it was trash, so I threw it out while we were cleaning up. I dashed out to the back of Primrose, straight to the dumpsters. The cool air chilled my skin, but I barely noticed it. Pulling open the lid of the first dumpster, I lifted myself up over the edge and was about to jump in when... Hana, stop! The trash gets picked up Sunday mornings. Mr. Bunny is gone. I stopped, hanging half out of the dumpster. The smell of rotten milk and old bits of food wafted into my face. Slowly, I lowered myself back down to the ground.
Sorry.
I'm really sorry. I didn't know. If I'd known, I would have never done it. No. No, it's okay. It's okay. I forgive you.
Really?
You do? I nodded. After all, I had real friends now. I didn't need to rely on Mr. Bunny anymore. I'm okay. I'll be fine. Mai searched my face. Then she grabbed a hold of my hand. Come on, let's go back inside. It's Sunday night after all. We should have some fun.
What the hell?
I know. Can you believe that? She says, I love you, and he says, I know. What the hell? Well, somebody was watching Star Wars. I kind of like it. I think it makes sense.
No.
As do I. No, it just makes him a dick. This is why Luke is way better, and he should have gotten the girl. Do you know? Do you know? At all, Luke and Leia, they're siblings. Thank you, Hana. Yeah, but they weren't at first. They could have.
What?
They're siblings, Mai. What the hell is wrong with you? Good question. I'm just saying that I think Luke's sexiness goes way unappreciated just because he's... I can't believe you're vouching for incest! They did it in Clueless, too! They weren't blood-related, though. Get out of my face. Mai's actions were not intentional. I was sure that if she could go back, she would stop herself from throwing away Mr. Bunny. As sad as I was, I should try my hardest to let it go. Yeah, sometimes it can be really hard to let go of stuff you know that you should. Hey, Chapter 4! Alrighty. Okay, let's save since we're at Chapter 4. Okay, temperamental bird. Oh, yay. Let's read our journal. Dear Diary, I can't believe Mai threw away Mr. Bunny. I know she didn't mean it, but there's nothing we can do, so I should stop worrying about it. Yeah, it's easier said than done, though. Now say Romeo. John held a small chunk of cracker before the new Jacques, who twitched his head from side to side. Romeo, come on now, I know you can do it. Romeo. New Jacques blinked at John. John dragged his hand through his hair. He'd been at this for the last 3 hours, all just trying to teach Jacques the word Romeo. It apparently took him the first 2 hours just to get Jacques to hold still on command, and now John was stuck on the very first word Juliet should know in the play. At this rate, I doubted his plan was really going to work out. If Jacques couldn't learn the word Romeo, how was he going to learn wherefore, or forsooth, or bane, or any of the other words in the English language that are in that play? Don't worry, the first word is always the hardest. After that it gets easier. Way easier. I nodded silently. Romeo. Say the word Romeo. Say Romeo, for God's sake! Ah! John. I rested a hand on his arm and he glanced at me. You're right. Sorry. He swallowed, setting down the small cracker. Do you think you could take over? I need a break.
Yeah.
Sure, of course. John collapsed into his bed, a hand over his eyes. I bit my lip. He was so stressed out, and if he was wasting all of his time on Jacques, he wouldn't be able to practice. I turned to the new Jacques. It sure is a shame that this Jacques isn't human. You know, I bet a human Juliet would be able to do this easily. What a weird thought, right? I looked meaningfully at John, but he was barely listening. I heard the costumist made a Juliet costume too. She liked the design and wanted a life-size version for herself. I bet it's really pretty. It's a shame no one will be able to see it under the stage lights. She's trying so hard to solve this problem for him. John scoffed. What a waste of her time. So what made you want to have Jacques play Juliet in the first place? John rubbed his face, exhaling deeply. He was mushing his cheeks into little puffs like chipmunks. Jacques has star quality, unlike anything I'd ever seen. You saw him and you instantly loved him. He had an effect on people unlike any other. That it factor, you know? He was practically begging to go into show business. And if he could just make it happen, imagine where that would take us. A grin spread across his face. I nodded slowly. And this Jacques is the same? Well, there's only one Jacques now, so he'd better be. There was a note of finality to his voice, so I turned back to the burning question. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Nothing. The play was only 2 weeks away. Would Jacques really be ready in time? If he wasn't, the play would be a total disaster. I looked at John again, my conversation with Mai from just a few days before bouncing around my head. If he got a human Juliet, almost all of his troubles would be fixed. He wouldn't have to worry about spending time teaching her lines because she could do it on her own. And then instead of worrying, he could study. I know, Hana could make this real easy for him and just play Juliet, but I know he's not going to want to do that. Mai said to look for opportunities, right? Well, here one was. I took a deep breath. John, I really think you should consider a human Juliet. Maybe you and Jacques, the old Jacques, would have been able to pull this off. But not this one. John sat up and blinked at me. I expected immediate refusal, but instead cogs were turning in his mind. Maybe you have a point. A pained expression crossed his face, and I wasn't sure whether it was because he missed the old Jacques, or because he was mourning the opportunity lost, or he was trying to imagine the play in a different way than he had the entire year. Probably all three. Sad ellipses. But you know, what if we tried a new technique? Yeah, we'll let him outside if he gets a word right. That'll definitely be enough incentive, right? He beamed at me, and I was too glad to finally see him smiling again to turn him down. Besides, once John decided on something, that was how he was doing it. With a sigh, I turned back to Jacques. Romeo. Say the word Romeo. You know, you've gotten a lot better with birds. I thought things would get worse after Jacques destroyed Mr. Bunny. Yeah, well, you know what they say. Practice makes perfect. And it was kind of hard to be afraid of something when you were furious with it. Yeah. Alright, so this looks like it's a new day. Still temperamental bird. Okay. Dear Diary, is John really gonna be okay? I'm so tired lately. But there's only a few days left. If I could just push through. If I can... It's taking a big toll on her too, and I'm not sure if John really realizes that. It was the middle of the week and class just ended. John, as he often did nowadays, went rushing out the door as soon as the bell rang. I put my books in my bag, intending to follow to help out with today's Jacques training session when PBG stopped me.
Hey.
Yep, I know where this is going. Hana, can I talk to you for a second? Can you please get your boyfriend to fucking do something? I'm in a bit of a rush. Can it wait? I moved a step past him, but PBG threw out an arm to stop me. I don't think it can, but let's not talk here. PBG and I headed out onto the campus, away from the flood of students and their listening ears. His face was grim, his hands firmly in his pockets. With each step we took, my anxiety increased. What was so wrong that PBG had to talk to me about it? It wasn't until we got to the soccer field, nearly empty considering it was just after class, that PBG finally told me what was on his mind. Is John... okay?
What?
What? Well, what makes you ask something like that? He gave me a look, one that said, I'm not stupid, that's what. I sighed. I know John's been struggling since Jacques left, but now there's a new Jacques? It's blatantly obvious it's not the real Jacques, but John keeps trying to convince me that it is, even though he knows I know otherwise. Oh, God, no! I didn't want to say anything about it since John was so adamant, but it's really weirding me out. His grades are falling, he's hardly sleeping anymore, and on top of that, he's not showing up to meetings or paying any attention to club business. He's one of the founders. He can't just leave everything to us. We're a team. We all need to work together. PBG is correct. And now he's dragged you into it too. Oh, what do you mean drag me into it? I want to help him. Besides, I'm perfectly fine. No. I've seen you rushing off after every class, following him to our room. Then you stay until I show up after soccer practice and you rush right on out without so much as a hello. What's going on? Have you even had time to sleep, study, go to dinner? You don't go to dinner with John, do you? You guys aren't dating, are you? Oh. I grabbed his arms on impulse, gently rubbing them to prevent the boy from having an imminent heart attack.
Hey!
PBG, calm down! Please, calm down. I know things look really bad right now, but... But what? But they would get better? There wasn't a chance in hell that that would happen. Not with John being completely unwilling to take suggestions. But we'd win the tournament? Those odds looked bleak. Those odds looked bleak too. I hadn't had time to practice since getting wrapped up in the new Jacques. I was just kind of hoping that my prior practice and Shane's advice, strategy is always, would pan out for me. Then what? What could I really say? PBG seemed to be thinking the same thing. He took a hand out of his pocket and rested it on my arm. We formed a weird kind of circle, both trying to comfort each other. He shouldn't be allowed to drag you into this, too. It's one thing to risk his own well-being, but... PBG seems sincerely distressed about what possible harm I was coming to. The thought was both charming and slightly ludicrous. In spite of myself, I started giggling. What? What? Why are you laughing at me? It's nothing, it's just... You're so thoughtful, PBG. What? I wiped tears from my eyes, struggling to calm down. You're always looking out for me. I really do appreciate it. No, it's really nothing. You're right that it's making things a little bit tougher on me, but that's okay. I volunteered for this. Things are bad, but I can't just abandon John. Not when he clearly needs me most. But I can't be there all the time. Can you try to make sure he's eating and sleeping? There's no way we'll be able to get everything done, and it's not looking like things will go well. He's only going to get more and more worked up. At the very least, we can prevent some of the damage that'll be caused by making sure he's At the very least, we can prevent some of the damage that'll cause by making sure he's a little bit healthier than he would be if we left him on his own. PBG pouted, seeming somewhat annoyed. I felt bad getting him involved too, but I knew I could count on him when I needed help. There's no stopping John if he doesn't want to, but I can try. PBG glanced away for a second, running a hand through his hair. So you like him then? Oh, poor PBG. What? No, because I don't. There was that look again. The I'm not stupid. Maybe a little. Well, that's fine. Yeah, maybe you'll be good for him. He sighed heavily. It wasn't all the joyous, teasing response I expected from him. That's because he kind of is in love with you, Hana. Do you not think we'd make a good couple? I know it seems unlikely. No, it's just the opposite. You guys would make each other happy. I can really see it working out in the long term. He sighed again. Damn it. Then why are you? Anyways, I don't want to keep you. We have practice today anyways. I better not see you in his room when I get back. Go home early today and get some work done. Look after yourself.
See you later.
I will. Thanks, PBG. I rushed off the field, hoping I didn't miss anything important during today's teaching session. There were only 2 days left until the first performance. Surely there was something we could do. Okay, we got a new day. Half-hearted comfort. Uh-oh. Dear Diary, it was really sweet of PBG to be worried about me. It feels nice to have someone trying to look after me. Yeah, John's kind of wrapped up in himself. Even though he took you out on a date, he's really not, like, looking at what he's doing, how it's affecting Hana. It's not good. Soon it was the day before the play, and the new Jacques was nowhere even close to ready. We only just managed to get him to keep his Juliet costume on without throwing off the hat every 5 seconds. There was absolutely no way we were going to be able to teach him how to act and make Shakespeare intelligible to an uninformed audience. John paced nervously before me, biting his fist. Bags lined his eyes, his face was pale, and every time I came to his room there was another degree messier than I thought humanly possible. From hanging around him for the past few days, it was clear he was completely consumed by thoughts of the play. I tried to distract him by talking of other things, telling stories, making jokes, but it was no use. John had a one-track mind. Even when I managed to engage him in something else for a second, he immediately likened it to the play afterwards. Hey. You think we'll be able to get Jacques to do something like that? Yeah, I'd never been so near a human putting themselves under so much stress, and I had no idea what to do. At this point, I was worried about more than just the play and the tournament. I was seriously concerned about his health. If he was like this now, how would he be 5 years in the future, when his job's or family's future was on the line? If he kept going like this, something had to give. I didn't want to have to watch that happen. Hana. I jumped. John stopped pacing and was now facing me, a look of utter defeat on his face. I really don't know what to do. I don't think this Jacques is going to work out.
Really?
What? Really? You finally realized it? Oh, that's not nice. Up until now, he'd been adamant that I was just required a little more time. It's just I'm so frustrated. Absolutely everything else is going perfectly. The sets are done, the extras are doing amazing, and all the other actors and actresses are kicking ass, and the costuming is out of this world for a school production. The lighting and the sound design, the props, everything is set for it to be a perfect play, except for this! And I don't know what to do. He collapsed onto his seat on the couch and I wrapped an arm around him. This isn't even counting the tournament. I've been trying to practice every night, but half the time I fall asleep when I start. And then PBG comes home and we have to do our assignments, and I stay up late doing those. I must be missing something. There must be some way to make this work. Use a human! John! It'll be okay. Don't worry, it'll all work out. I mean, you're giving it everything you've got, aren't you? That has to mean it'll work out. It has to. I rubbed his back, staring straight ahead. Truth be told, I didn't think it was going to work out. The writing was on the wall, but I could see where he was coming from. Even now, I held a small sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, a miracle would somehow occur. It seems stupid to suggest the grandiosity of a miracle for something as silly as a school play, but still, maybe that miracle consisted of a simple choice. Are you sure you don't want to switch to a human Juliet? John flinched and shrugged my arm off his shoulder. Of course not! I have a vision for this play, Hana. A vision! Besides, do you think switching now would do anything? She'd need her costume adjusted, the lines memorized, we'd have to redo and relearn the blocking for everyone, and find newly sized props, and she'd have to be sufficiently talented. It won't work. I clenched my hands together in my lap, running my thumbs over each other. Sure, it'd be a lot of work, but I felt like John was just determined to be as miserable as possible. If he wasn't so set in his ways, if he actually listened to other people's advice and suggestions, this wouldn't have happened. He honestly brought all this on himself, but he couldn't see that. If it was Jacques' fault, or the world was a mean place. It had nothing to do with him being what amounted to, honestly speaking, a bad leader. But I gritted my teeth. What would telling him do now? He'd just get even more angry, no doubt. If he wouldn't listen, he wouldn't listen. It's just... John's voice caught in his throat and he took a few deep breaths before starting over. A small pang of guilt hit me, but I shook it off, my head swimming. It's not just me counting on this to work. There are so many people who put in their time, effort, their passion. So many people who worked so hard, gave up sleep, hurt themselves, worried about this play. And now, because I couldn't teach this damn bird, it's all going to pieces. He put his face in his hands. I feel like George Lucas after he realized the Phantom Menace was actually a piece of shit. Wow. I enjoyed that, thank you. I rubbed his back, nodding. There was nothing else I could really say. The truth of the situation was that John messed up, and nothing I said or did would cushion the blow. John was in charge of the entire play. If something went wrong, he was by virtue of that position at least partially at fault, for he made the decision to do that thing or trust that person somewhere down the line. It won't be as bad as you're imagining, I'm sure. That at least was something I could truthfully say. John shook his head again, then wrapped his arms around me and buried his face in my shoulder. I stroked his hair and we sat like that in silence. It was all we could do. I can't believe he actually went through with the bird. John, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. Okay, so I have a feeling this is kind of the home stretch of this game. And we've been streaming for about an hour now, and I have another stream scheduled tonight. So I think tonight we'll finish up John. So this, I think, is a good place to stop. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you look in the chat, my bot will tell you all the ways you can follow me. Follow me here on Twitch and on YouTube, or on Twitter at TheGinaChew to find out when I'm streaming next. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this stream of Asagao Academy. Next time we will finish up JonTron's route. I'm not sure who I'm going to do next. I was thinking Satch. I don't know, maybe Jared? I don't know. The only thing I really know about the order that I want to do this in is that I want to save Shane for last, because I know that he is really rough. Well, I'm gonna save Shane for last, and then after Shane, I'll do the 2 secret ones. And we'll see if we can get those. Those are a little more difficult to get because there's not really like a straight path to getting it. But yeah, so the last of the normal boots guys that I will be romancing, I think will be Shane, just because he's so damn hard, and I feel like the anticipation's gonna be worth it. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe Satch next, maybe Jared. I don't know. I kind of want to get Jared over with just because I know I'm gonna feel guilty because I really want to see him and Mai be together. I feel so awful. Well, I don't know. So maybe one of the two. If you have an opinion, if you'd rather see Jared or you'd rather see Satch, let me know. Leave a comment. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.